What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Massive move continues on Friday. Bulls maintaining momentum throughout the entire day, putting in a very big failed breakdown setup and bouncing off a very critical level. We're going to go over in this video. We're also going to talk about a little bit more about how this move obviously was accelerated and the week ahead. I want to break everything down for you guys. So let's get right into it. First off, as you can see, we were struggling for quite some time, continuing to sell off just for a little bit, probably like the previous 5 or 6 days. Thursday comes in, bouncing around this 392 level, looked like it wanted to come back and retest this 394, which has been a big level, of support. Obviously, when you break through these levels of support, it's very common for a retest to occur. Then Raphael Bostic, Federal Bank President, Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta president, comes out and says the word pause. Okay, now that was all that was needed for the Bulls to really step on the gas. And we had that massive move Thursday, coming back up, almost getting to that 400 level, but 398 little level of resistance brings us to Friday. They come out Friday, and it was just a continuous slow grind to the upside. Very, very common move. I said this early on inside the group around 11:30. Once we broke over that 400, we broke through it. We failed. Bears tried to jump on, couldn't break that nice level of pre-market support. Came back up. Once we hung over this, so listen, this has that slow grind vibes all day, and it's exactly what happened. Now, we've seen this happen both to the upsides and the downsides, these slow grinds. Once you see that steady level of consolidation where it just seems that it doesn't matter, okay, almost in one sense, how low the volume is, it's just one side cannot change the momentum. These are the days you really want to capitalize and ride that in the same way. Don't try to fight some of these trends. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the major level of support that was retested. All right, now this is a level that these, the bears on FinTwit I've talked about for quite some time. Okay, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit further for you guys. We talk about this trend line. Okay, this is ES. This is the S&P futures. We talk about this January high back at that 4,800 January of 2022, and this trend line that was very, very well respected. Okay, we had a lot of volatility, massive sell-off, comes back up in March, retest and fail once again. A lot of volatility. Okay, big sell-off over into the summer. A grind up in August, right before Jerome Powell's Jackson Hole speech. Boom, off that trend line. Same again in that November, December. Well, in early January, we broke through this. That's when the momentum started to shift a little bit. And anytime you see a massive level of support, whether it's a trend line like this, okay, or a critical level such as this 4160 level you can see right here, support, resistance, little failed breakout. Once again, resistance, we're trying to hang around it, kind of failed again. It's very common for these resistances, once they're broken through, to be retested and act as support. And that's exactly what happened if you follow this trend line. And you can see right above where I am right here, it came back up, came down, put in a massive failed breakdown setup off that 3950 level. We've talked about that 3950 level as a magnet for quite some time. You come through here over the past few days of consolidation. It was acting as a magnet right here. Okay, and you can see we failed breakdown, got down to that 3920 level, and then continued to move to the upside. This is a very big indication of a bottoming setup. Okay, I've learned this from other traders and just seeing it for happening through so much different time. Now, let me just, if you're unfamiliar with futures, the reason why I look at futures closely, and I've explained this to everybody inside the group, is a lot of action happens overnight that you just don't catch in the SPY. Okay, a lot of big moves happen and money moves. Okay, so we've talked about this 404 and more specifically this 408 level for quite some time. Okay, and the reason being is because going all the way back to the beginning of February, we acted as a big level of consolidation, a big ping pong range, right? We had that little failed breakout to the upside up to that 418, that little failed breakdown, okay, over here. But we talked about mainly that 408 level, and I've said to everybody for quite some time, these are very big, pivotal levels that held for quite some time. And anytime, like I just said a little while ago, you see these levels that prices like a magnet to, even though we break down through this, it wouldn't surprise me to come and retest them. And we spent a lot of time down here before obviously we are back up to this level. So you see this 404 level, okay? we'll snap a line here for you guys. You can see this 404 level that once again right here. Okay, it's been glued to, acted as support, once again support, kind of acted as support before failing to break through. Here comes the retest. That next level is going to be that 408 level. Okay, that's where we're really going to see, is price going to be able to hang through this, or on a bigger picture of the chart I just showed you guys, you know, with ES, which is the futures, is this going to be a failed breakout to the upside before we eventually make a big move down? Now we have some things pulling here. All right. I've talked to you guys about my 3 phases of the Fed pivot. You have the first phase, which is, okay, the slowing of rates, the second phase, which is the actual pausing of rates, and then finally the third phase. All right. And price and the stock market is going to react very differently throughout these entire phases. Now, in my personal opinion, when it comes to the economy, which is the macros, which sometimes can be a little bit disaligned from the stock market, the economy has a long way to go. I don't think that we have fully seen the effects of the rate hikes. Okay. Jerome Powell has stated that. You look at the housing market that is still going through a very big, indecision point of, you have, housing shortage. However, you have mortgage rates that are just astronomical and people are having a hard time affording homes. It's a very big indecision. Okay. And we haven't seen those full effects. All right, so keep that in mind. So the week ahead, obviously, you want to look for this 404 level to hold as support and the big pivotal level of 408, as price most likely will be attracted to this level unless we get some unexpected news. Okay, now Raphael Bostic, I just showed you this. He comes out, he says the word pause. All right, now, was this planned? Was this influenced by one side? We've seen so much market manipulation that's been controlled. Okay, taking a look at the options flow on Thursday was very interesting. Just seeing no indication that we were going to move to the upside, yet there was heavy call buying. Once the move happened, like we always say, someone always knows. So was this planned? Was this influenced? Like I said, guys, we will never know. We can only, try to play these charts and not try to time them. But that brings us to the big week ahead. Now, this is the trading economics calendar, something I always look at. And I always want to, highlight what is going to be pivotal and what can move the market. We've seen this, 10 a.m. data come out, and all of a sudden, you see a massive wick to the upside, a massive wick to the downside before eventually some stabilization and then a continued move. You don't want to ever get caught inside that. So this is the data we look at. And what do we see happening on Tuesday? Fed Chair Jerome Powell testimony, not just on Tuesday, but also on Wednesday. Okay. Is he going to align with this potential pause, okay, in midsummer? Now, Raphael Bostic did also say that early last year that he expected at the end of last year, okay, or the mid to end of last year, towards late that fall time frame, that there was going to be a pause. So clearly he was wrong, as here we are still, raising interest rates, in the following year. Is Jerome Powell going to come out and kind of side with them and say, yeah, listen, we want to pause. We really want to, we raise rates, pretty rapidly. We feel like we haven't seen some of those effects yet. What is going to happen? Do they want to pause, and so forth? So this is going to be happening on Tuesday at 10 o'clock Eastern time, and once again on Wednesday. The other big data you have this week, I would say, would be payrolls. Okay, now we've said for an unemployment rate, we've said for quite some time the Federal Reserve wants to see the labor market soften a little bit. It shows that, okay, their raising of interest rates is starting to fight, the battle against inflation, which indirectly obviously seeing a rising unemployment rate. Followed by that, the following week, okay, which is Tuesday the 14th, you have CPI coming out. And this is all before their March meeting on the 22nd. FOMC 22nd rate decision, okay, is that week as well, 22nd. So, or maybe the 23rd, but 22nd. So those are the key points that you want to keep on. Now, guys, that is going to be it for this video. I'll continue to make one. Like I said, 404 in between 408, look for price stabilization. All right, it wouldn't surprise me after a big move like we've seen. Okay, obviously this chart isn't showing a big move, but after this big move we saw late Thursday and all day Friday, a little bit of consolidation. Let's wait to see what Jerome Powell says. If he continues on that path of, listen, there's going to be a pause. If he kind of knocks it down, look for the market to pull back generally. So guys, that is it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.